Today we're going to talk about increasing within the knitting patterns. And for today's demonstration tutorial, I will be using Lion brand yarns, wool spun Lion's Pride in the colorway of Tomato. They claim this is a bulky 5. And the recommended needle size is a 6.5 millimeter or a 10.5. The recommended crochet, just in case you want to know, is a 6.5, otherwise known as a K. So let's get started. Let's see if we can find a center pole here. All right, so not that side, it's the other side. Then I'll get you down here where you can see a little bit better. Woohoo, not too bad. Just a little bit. I am not sponsored or affiliated by Lion Brand. I purchased this yarn with my own money. Okay. If you need to know how to do a slip knot cast on, I have a tutorial on knitting basics that you can watch. So I'm going to move pretty quickly through this part. I'm going to do a long tail cast on, and I am just going to cast on, oh, I don't know, let's see. Let's go with 20. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. All right, so it's looking like we're going to be at like 15 stitches instead of 20. That's okay. All right. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Let's make it an even number and get 16 in there. Okay, so I got 16 stitches cast on. I'm just going to knit a row so I have something to work with. And you don't need to watch me knit. If you need to know how to knit or do the knit stitch, you can go back to my knitting basics and find the video that says knit stitch and watch it, and then come back to this video. Okay, so I've actually knitted a couple of rows of stockinette. So we're going to discuss increasing in a pattern when it comes to knitting. You may see where some designers will write out make 1. or some designers may put a M1 or something to that right there. It could be either or, it could be a combination, and it could be multiples. Make two, make, you know, one left and make one right. There's many, many different things, but today we're going to talk about our basic make one, period. So what you're going to want to do to make one is you're going to want to open this up a little bit between your needles. And between the stitch on your right needle and the stitch on your left needle, you're going to find a horizontal bar right there. See that? Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your left needle and rock it under that bar and pick that bar up, just like such. So now it's on your needle. Just like that. So we'll do that again. The horizontal bar between your two needles, you're going to take your left needle and rock it towards you and go under that bar and pick it up. Okay? And to complete that stitch, you will knit through the back leg of it. So on the back side, you wrap your yarn and knit that stitch and pull it off. Now I'll knit a couple of stitches. And you can see that we have increased by one right there. Okay, we'll do that again. Gonna separate our stitches out, and the horizontal bar in between the two needles is the one we're gonna pick up with our left needle. So rock forward towards you, pick it up, and knit through the back. Just like that. Okay, I'll knit a couple more stitches. And we'll do it again. Rock that needle forward, pick up that horizontal stitch, and knit through the back. Like such. I'll knit a couple more stitches. And we'll do it again. Rock forward and pick up that horizontal stitch. And knit through the back loop, or the back leg. And I'll knit a couple more stitches, and we'll do it again. Last time. Rock that left needle forward and under that horizontal bar and insert your needle into the back leg and knit. I'll knit them last stitches. Okay, let's zoom down in a little bit. So we had 16 stitches on the needle for the long tail cast on. Now we have increased to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 21 stitches. We have increased from 16 to 21. Okay, I'm going to purl the back side of this and knit the next row, and I will be right back. Okay, I've knitted and purled a couple rows up, now I want to zoom in and show you what it looks like. So you can see the columns here where the knits were. Then we get to here and they both start out the same. And then as we get up here to these next rows, you can see where it splits. That's where your make one is. So now from these two, it goes to 3. There's now 1 in the center, just under that stitch marker. You see that? So that's where your make one is. And if we scroll down, you can see them and pick them out now, because it changes the shape of these columns, and this line splits into 2. Okay, so you have learned how to make one now. Another way you can increase is called a yarn over, and that is used primarily for, I'm going to zoom back out and purl this next row while I'm talking about yarn over, or YO. Depending on the designer, will depend on how you see it. So a yarn over is used a lot when making like lace knitting. You use yarn overs. Makes the most beautiful, absolutely stunning lace. But you can also use it as an increase. And I'll show you why on the other side when I get back on the knitted side. Almost there. Okay, knit a couple of stitches in and I'll show you. Okay, so to create, excuse me, create a yarn over, all you do is bring that yarn to the front, up and over your right needle, and now you're ready to go. You can knit the next stitch. I'll knit 2, yarn over by bringing the yarn towards me in front of the needle and up and over, and place my finger on top to keep it from slipping off, and I will knit the next 2. And that has increased every yarn over. So this yarn over increased 1 stitch, and this yarn over increased 1 stitch. So now I'm going to finish and go every 2 across, add a yarn over in between, and I'll meet you when I get back to the other side of the work. So now I'm on the wrong side of this work. I'm on the purl side, and I'm coming up to one of my yarn overs. So with my yarn in front, I'm going to purl it exactly like I would any other stitch. and move on to the next. Come up to the next yarn over. Again, I'm just going to purl it like I would the rest. And continue on my merry way. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. So with my yarn in front, I'm going to go underneath that yarn over and purl it. Purl the next two. And yarn over, gets purled just like the others. So I'm going to finish this row and I'll meet you back up on the other side. Okay, so I've made it back to the other side. And this is what you have when you do an increase by yarn over only and do not decrease after the yarn over. You end up with these little holes, which is why it makes for such great lace work. See all them holes? It's really cool looking. Okay. So I'm going to knit this row and purl the next row, so I'm set up for the last and final part of increasing that I want to show you. Be right back. Okay, I've knitted a little bit and purled a little bit and got us set up for the last and final part of this. But before I move on, I want to show you how much you can see where them yarn overs were. Or are, should I say, because they're still there. They didn't leave, did they? So there you go. Now you can see that increase. So now we're going to talk about knit one front and knit one back. Whatever does that mean when you run across that in a pattern? Well, I'm going to show you. So you will also see it sometimes in a pattern, KFB or K1F and B. Crazy, I know. All right. And I'm sorry if the glare from my overhead light on my marker board there is bothering you. Okay. So we'll zoom in a little bit here and discuss this. So generally we knit that front stitch. So we're going to go ahead and start the first part of that. We are going to knit one front. Do not slide that stitch off your left needle. You're going to rock back around and go into the back of that same stitch and knit it. Just like that. So now you have 2 stitches from that one stitch. Now you can slide it off. And now I'll knit 2. And again, we're going to knit one front. Don't take that stitch off yet. Come around and knit that back of that same stitch. So we're going to knit one back now. And we just increased. Knit a couple of stitches. Okay, we're going to do that again. We are going to knit one front. Don't take that stitch off. And we are going to knit one back. Okay. I'm going to zoom back out and work along this row. Knit one front, knit one back. I'm just knitting 2 stitches in between just to kind of give a little bit of space in between each of the increases. Okay. Okay. And in case you're wondering, the reason, if you're a seasoned knitter and you're watching this and you're wondering why I'm knitting like I am through the back loop on just my knit stitches, it's because of the way I purl. It's because the way I purl, I'm a scooper. Instead of a yarn over and drop it down, I actually scoop. So the way that it makes my stitch, I have to knit through the back leg of it in order for it to look right, which is most comfortable for me. If I'm just knitting whatever I want to knit, that's how I do it. If the pattern is specifically calling for knitting through the back loop, then I adjust what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm back to a knit one front and a knit one back, knit a couple of stitches, and again, knit one front, knit one back, knit a couple of stitches, knit one front, knit one back, and then knit the last two stitches. Okay, I will purl the back side of this. And I will be right back to show you what it looks like. Okay, so now you can see how much I've increased just by using these 3 different techniques of increasing. And you can see where the yarn overs are. Let's take a look at our last one. So here's our yarn over, and just above that is where we did the knit front and back. And you can see these 2 stitches here, 2 rows here, go straight up. And the same thing over here. These 2 rows go straight up. But in between, right here, you can see where it changes. It now grows by 1 more stitch. Okay, so we now have a whole bunch of stitches on our needle. And just a quick review, we did a make one, M1, yarn over, or YO, and a knit one front and knit one back, KFB or K1F and B. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If it was of help, please give me a thumbs up. If you would like to see any other stitches or techniques, please let me know in the comment box below. You can also look in the description box of each of my videos and find other places to find me, like Instagram or my Facebook group. Come on over to my Facebook group and enjoy. Until next time, I will give you a yarny hug and see you somewhere in another video. Until then, be blessed and be a blessing. Thanks for watching. Bye.